The night was colder than usual in the small village of Ravensbrook. The wind moved through the trees like a whisper, and the moon hung low, pale and lonely. People in the village had already locked their doors. Only one sound filled the air, the creaking of an old wooden sign near the path that led to the forest. The sign said, "Do not go near the well after dark." But Evelyn did not believe in old stories. She was a poor young woman who lived with her sick mother at the edge of the village. Her mother had been ill for months and no medicine helped. The doctor said only a miracle could save her now. Evelyn had no money left and hope was fading from her eyes. That night, when everyone slept, she walked alone toward the forest. She had heard the stories of a well that could grant a single wish to anyone brave enough to face it. People said it was cursed, that it took something precious in return, but desperation is stronger than fear. The forest was dark and the ground was wet. Each step made a soft crunch of leaves. Evelyn's lantern flickered, throwing weak yellow light on the twisted trees. Her heart beat faster as she reached a small clearing. There it stood, the old stone well covered in moss and vines. The air around it felt colder, heavier. She took a step closer, her breath turning white in the air. Suddenly, she felt someone watching her. From the shadows behind the trees, a tall man stepped forward. He wore a long black coat and his face was hidden under a wide hat. Only his eyes glimmered faintly like dying embers. "You should not be here," he said softly. His voice was calm, but it carried something strange, like an echo that did not belong to this world. Evelyn froze. "Who are you?" she whispered. He tilted his head slightly. "Just a keeper. The well has a rule, you know. Every wish has a price." Her hands trembled. "I just want to save my mother." He nodded slowly. "Then you must decide what you are willing to lose." Before Evelyn could speak, the stranger turned and disappeared into the fog, as if the forest had swallowed him whole. Only his words remained in her ears, repeating over and over, "Every wish has a price." She looked down into the well. The water inside was completely black, like liquid night. She pulled a small silver coin from her pocket, the last thing her father had left her before he died. Tears filled her eyes. "Please," she whispered. "Make my mother well again. I will give anything." She dropped the coin into the darkness. It fell, making a sound that echoed far too long, as if the well had no bottom. Then the wind stopped. The forest became silent. Even the crickets went quiet. Evelyn felt something cold brush against her fingers, a chill that ran through her body, and then nothing. She hurried home, afraid but also hopeful. Maybe the stories were true. Maybe tomorrow would bring a miracle. When morning came, sunlight touched her small house. Evelyn woke to the sound of birds, something she had not heard in days. She smiled and called for her mother, but the bed was empty. The sheets were still warm, the pillow still pressed with her mother's shape, but she was gone. No footprints, no sound, no sign. Only her empty chair creaked near the window. Evelyn's heart pounded. She searched the house again and again, calling her mother's name, running outside, asking neighbors. No one had seen her. Then she saw it. A pile of gold coins on the table. Shining, perfect, impossible. The same coin she had dropped in the well was now multiplied 100 times. She fell to her knees, her eyes wide. No, this can't be. But deep inside she already knew. The wish had been granted. Her mother was gone because of it. That night Evelyn sat alone, staring at the coins. They no longer looked beautiful. The more she stared, the darker they seemed, like shadows made solid. The wind outside began to rise again. The old house groaned under its weight. And then she heard it, a whisper. It came from the window. Evelyn turned slowly. Outside, under the moonlight, she saw something that made her blood turn cold. A shape stood near the trees. Faint, almost invisible, but it had her mother's face. The eyes were hollow and the mouth moved soundlessly as if trying to speak. Evelyn pressed a hand to her mouth, tears filling her eyes. "Mother!" The shadow raised a hand and pointed, straight toward the forest, then it vanished. Evelyn ran to the door, but when she opened it, the wind slammed it shut again. The house fell silent. Only one sound remained. A distant echoing voice from the direction of the well. It whispered softly, almost kindly. "You asked for it." Evelyn dropped to her knees, trembling. The gold coins on the table began to turn black one by one. The curse had begun, and deep in the forest, someone or something was waiting for her return. The night after her mother vanished, Evelyn could not sleep. Every sound in the house felt louder than before. The ticking of the clock, the creak of the wooden floor, the whisper of wind through the cracks. The gold coins still lay on the table, now dull and blackened. No matter how many times she threw them away, they always came back before dawn. Evelyn's hands shook as she held one coin up to the candlelight. It wasn't just dark. The surface moved like something alive inside it. She dropped it quickly and stepped back, breathing hard. The voice from the well echoed in her head again. Every wish has a price. By morning, she made up her mind. She would go back to the forest, back to the well, and beg for her mother's return. The villagers saw her walking through the square, pale and silent. They whispered to each other. One old man caught her arm and said, "Child, don't go to that place again. Once you've made a wish, you belong to it." Evelyn pulled away, then let it take me. "I only want my mother back." The man crossed himself and turned away, afraid to say more. The forest was colder that day. Clouds hid the sun and fog crawled low across the ground. When she reached the clearing, the air felt heavy, as if the trees were holding their breath. The well was waiting. The moss on its stones was damp and black. As Evelyn stepped closer, she saw her reflection in the dark water. Pale face, hollow eyes. "Please," she whispered. "I didn't mean for this to happen. I just wanted to save her. I'll do anything to bring her back." The water rippled. Then a voice smooth and cruel rose from the depths. "Another life must replace what was taken." Evelyn gasped. "No, there must be another way." The voice laughed in a sound that chilled her to the bone. "Balance must be kept. A life for a life." She fell to her knees, sobbing. "Take mine!" But the voice grew quieter, almost amused. "Not yours. You must offer another." Evelyn ran from the clearing, terrified. She didn't understand what the well wanted. Or maybe she did, and that was worse. That night, she locked her doors and windows, clutching her mother's shawl in her hands. But when dawn came, she awoke with mud under her nails and scratches on her arms. Her shoes were wet, as if she had been walking through the forest. Outside her house, the villagers were gathered, whispering again. Someone had gone missing, a man who lived near the river. No one had seen him since the night before. Evelyn's stomach turned cold. She didn't remember anything. But deep inside, a small voice said she already knew. Over the next few days, more people disappeared, one each night. Evelyn tried to stay awake, but sleep always found her. And every morning she woke to find her hands dirty and her body trembling with fear. At night, shadows began to move on their own. When she looked in the mirror, she sometimes saw someone standing behind her, the tall man in black. His hat hid his face, but his smile was faint and cruel. One night he spoke to her through the reflection. "You are paying your debt," he said softly. She turned quickly, but no one was there. Only her reflection remained, but it didn't move when she did. Her reflection smiled on its own. "You can't stop it, Evelyn," it whispered. "You opened the door. Now it won't close," Evelyn screamed and threw a stone at the mirror, shattering it. Pieces fell to the floor, glinting like little eyes. The next day, she went to the old church, hoping the priest could help her. Inside, she found dust and silence. But behind the altar, she discovered something strange. A box full of old letters written by people long dead. The letters all spoke of the same thing, the Well of Wishes. Each one ended with the same words. "It gave what I asked, but it took what I loved." Some letters had dried black stains on them. Blood, maybe. Evelyn realized she was not the first. The well had been there for centuries, feeding on greed, sorrow, and love. Each wish made it stronger. Each wisher became part of its curse. That night, when she returned home, she found the man in black waiting by her door. His face was still hidden, but his voice was calm. "You asked for life," he said. "Now the well collects what it's owed." "Who are you?" she cried. He stepped closer, his boots leaving no sound on the ground. "I am the debt collector," he said. "The keeper of balance. I didn't mean to hurt anyone." Evelyn shouted. He tilted his head. "Intent does not matter. The price must be paid." Before she could move, he vanished, leaving behind a cold mist and a whisper that slid through her ears. "Soon, you will understand." That night, she dreamt of the well again. But this time, she was standing inside it, surrounded by faces. Faces of those who had disappeared. Their eyes were hollow, their mouths open in silent screams. She woke up gasping, clutching her chest. Her reflection in the broken mirror stared back, but now it smiled. The voice in her head whispered, "You are becoming one of us." Outside, in the fog-covered forest, the stranger waited. His hat cast a shadow across his face, and in his hand he held a single silver coin, the same one Evelyn had once thrown into the well. He looked toward her house and smiled. The next collection was almost due. Evelyn no longer knew the difference between night and day. Sleep meant nightmares, and waking meant fear. Her house had grown cold. The windows fogged from within, and the smell of damp earth filled every room. She had stopped leaving. The villagers no longer knocked. They whispered that she was cursed, that the forest had claimed her, and in truth, they were not wrong. Each morning she found more mud on the floor, more strange footprints, sometimes small, sometimes not human at all. The mirror she had broken refused to stay shattered. Each night she found it whole again, as if time itself wanted her to see her reflection, and every time she looked into it, her reflection smiled, even when she didn't. One evening, Evelyn sat by the table staring at the blackened coins. They pulsed faintly like they had a heartbeat. The air around them shimmered as if heat rose from invisible flames. Her voice was tired but steady. "What do you want from me?" From the corner of the room came the sound of slow footsteps. The tall man in the black coat appeared once more. His eyes burned faintly red under the shadow of his hat. "The well wants what it's owed," he said quietly. "You made a wish. You received your gift. Now the balance must be kept." Evelyn's voice cracked. "You took my mother. You took my sleep, my peace. What more do you want?" He leaned closer. "It wants you." Evelyn's heart stopped. "Me?" The man nodded. "But not your body. Your soul." He raised one hand, and suddenly the candles blew out. The house fell into darkness. Only the faint red light from his eyes remained. "You can still escape the pain," he whispered. "Offer another in your place." Evelyn shook her head violently. "No, I won't hurt anyone else." The man smiled. "Then you will take her place forever." That night Evelyn ran into the forest. The fog was thick, wrapping around her like cold fingers. The trees groaned and swayed, whispering in voices that weren't the wind. The well waited for her, black and endless. The air around it trembled with a low hum like a heartbeat deep underground. Evelyn fell to her knees beside it. "Please," she cried, "end this. Take me if you must, but let the others go." The well's surface rippled and the voice rose again, smooth, dark, and ancient. "Do you accept the price?" "Yes," she whispered. "I accept." The ground trembled. The air grew heavier. From the well, a pale hand reached out, dripping with black water. Evelyn gasped but did not pull away. The hand touched her chest. A burning cold spread through her heart, then her veins. The world around her began to twist and fade. In the reflection of the well's water, she saw herself. But her reflection did not copy her movements anymore. It stood still, smiling. Her reflection whispered, "You are free now. I'll take it from here." Evelyn screamed, trying to fight, but her voice was pulled into the darkness. Her reflection climbed out of the well, and alive, real, breathing. Evelyn felt herself sinking, falling into the black water, her body growing weightless, and then silence. Morning came. The fog had cleared and sunlight touched the forest again. A young farmer passing by saw a woman standing near the well. She wore a dark cloak and looked calm, almost peaceful. Her eyes were bright but cold. "Miss," he called. "Are you all right?" The woman turned. It was Evelyn, or at least it looked like her. She smiled gently. "I'm fine," she said. "Better than ever." But when the farmer looked into her eyes, he saw a deep emptiness, as if something ancient looked back at him. He shivered and hurried away. Evelyn watched him go. Then she turned to the well and whispered, "It's done." From deep below came a faint, familiar laugh, the voice of the man in black. "Well done, Keeper." Evelyn closed her eyes. She understood now. The curse didn't end, it only changed hands. Someone had to keep the balance. Someone had to collect the debt. She looked down into the water. Her reflection no longer looked like her. It was her mother's face, smiling softly, whispering words Evelyn couldn't hear. Tears filled her eyes, but she didn't move. "I'm sorry, Mother," she said. "I just wanted you to live." The voice from the well replied, calm and cold, "Every wish has a price." Evelyn turned and walked away from the well, her cloak dragging over the ground. Behind her, the wind rose, carrying the faint sound of coins falling into water. Years later, travelers who came to Ravensbrook told strange stories. They said the forest had grown quiet again, but sometimes at dusk, you could see a woman in a dark cloak standing near the old stone well. Her face was pale, her eyes empty, and her voice soft as wind. She would say, "What is it you wish for?" Those who answered never returned. And when the villagers passed the forest at night, they could hear a soft whisper echoing from deep underground. The same line, over and over. Every wish has a price.